Welcome to Crooners and Coffeeshops, everyone. My name is Heather. Today I have Natalie Duque here to chat about her upcoming collaborative EP. So, Natalie, we would love to hear a little bit about your story.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm continuing to do these interviews throughout a pandemic, rolling with the punches. Yeah, so I'm originally from New York, but I've been out in Los Angeles now for, I don't know, a really long time, like 13, 14, 15 years, maybe.
That makes
So,
you a real Angelino if you've been here
yes.
past 10 years.
I feel like if you make it past the 1 year mark, you're golden. You're solid. You're like that first year in LA either makes or breaks you. But yeah, I went to college at the University of Miami, and then I went back to New York for a year and lived through one winter. And I was like, how did I ever do this? I don't understand. But I didn't really feel the vibe of Florida, so I came out to LA and I just haven't looked back since. And so I'm a singer songwriter. I've kind of had this, I don't want to say love hate relationship, but like this on again, off again relationship with music. The struggle is real and trying to figure out life and student loan debt and all of that while trying to survive in a city where it's hard, especially hard and expensive. It was really tough. And then a few years ago, I was actually a classroom teacher, but I was so unhappy, not even realizing it, that I started to physically get sick. And I was going to doctors, and I'm like, you have to tell me what's wrong with me. Just like diagnose me with something so that I can move on with my life. And they're like, no, it's just like stress and emotions. And it was literally after a few years of not writing and not singing and holding everything in, holding all of my emotions, and my body was revolting and was like, you can't do this. Like, this is not the life for you. So, yeah, I was like, all right, I need to, like, after doing music on and off, I need to just focus on it full time and just figure it out. I just need to figure out how this can be sustainable because my body can't handle anything else. So so that's what it is. So yeah, at the last few years, I've really been working on honing my craft and making connections and just trying to meet as many people as possible and collaborate with as many people as possible and just create music because I love to write, not even just for myself. I love writing with other people on their artist projects as well. So yeah, and here I am now.
Yeah, and I know that you know Kaylee Rose and Cassie Betcher as well.
Yes.
Shout out to you, Cassie and Kaylee.
Oh my, I love them. They're like the type of people that the first time you meet them, they feel like your best friend. They're awesome.
Yeah. And speaking of collaborating with other artists, you're actually gearing up to release the collaborative project Letters to Loved Ones. It's based around the question of what do our friends and family who are struggling right now need to hear, especially during these crazy, uncertain times. As much as that's oversaid, it's really true.
Yes.
Um, would you like to kind of like give us a little bit of a sneak peek in regards to like what some of the lyrical content and messages that we will get to hear within the songs on the EP?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me just backtrack a little. I'm releasing an EP with a friend and songwriter, Ramita Aurora. I met her last November at a music conference, the Taxi Road Rally, which is here in LA. And at the time, she was living in Canada. So we're already doing Skype sessions pre pandemic. And then the pandemic hit. She now actually just recently moved out to LA, but we haven't been able to write in person because of everything. But we were already writing, and we were writing mostly focusing on writing for sync. So, like with Taxi Music, they send you briefings of songs that supervisors or just libraries are looking for. And so we would like use those briefs to write songs and submit them. But then the pandemic hit and we shifted gears and we were just like, what is the energy we want to be focusing on right now? And so it did start from a place of like, what do our loved ones, like, what are some things that they would want to hear right now that would help them feel better? But I think it also was like for ourselves too, like, what do we need to hear right now? What do we need to be telling ourselves? And so we started writing these songs, not even knowing that it was going to turn into an EP. We were just like, we're just going to write these positive, uplifting songs. And then a few months later, we're like, you know what? This would actually be a really great EP to put out. And we planned for around the holidays, particularly because I feel like they're going to be especially hard this year. Like, I'm already starting to feel the sadness of like, I haven't seen my family who's on the East Coast. I haven't seen my family since my son's first birthday, pretty much. And, now I'm going to go through the holidays without seeing them. So we felt like it would be just a really good project to put out during that time when people are going to, I feel like, especially need a little bit more uplifting in their lives. So it's a 4-song EP. 2 of the songs are focused more on the like friendship aspects, kind of like I'm here for you, just knowing like some people, even myself, like if I'm feeling depressed or down, like I don't necessarily want to go to people to talk to them about what's happening. Like I feel like I'm going to be a burden on them, or, like we're in a pandemic, everybody's going through their own stuff. I don't want to put even more on somebody else. And the songs are really focusing on saying like, I have your back no matter what, like I'm here for you. It doesn't matter what's going on. And then 2 of the songs are more about like getting through it together. It's an EP about love in all of its forms. And the hope is to spread some love, joy, and positivity.
Yes, we absolutely need that. And I kind of have heard a few people starting to talk about the, seasonal depression kind of thing. And I definitely get it. My parents and my grandmother have already passed, and my mom, my grandma, and myself have birthdays in December. So December in particular is extremely hard because I can't celebrate with them because they're gone. And now we can't see our family. I haven't gone to see them since September of
Hmm.
last year. And it's like, I don't want to be selfish because I have the time to go and drive up there and potentially expose you kind of thing. So
Right.
like I love hearing artists that are trying to do their best to create positive music to put out there because it's really what we need. So
Yeah.
appreciative of you for sure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's for us as well. I feel like some people sometimes are like, "Oh, you must be doing okay, or you must be happy if you're like writing these happy songs." Like, no, it's the beginning of the pandemic. I legitimately, I was like, if I don't try to turn this into something positive, if I don't focus on something positive, I'm gonna spiral. So this is like my only option. I'm like, I'm just gonna keep writing these songs and trying my best to think that way because it is so hard. But I'm sorry to hear that December is an especially challenging month. Christmas used to be my favorite holiday, and then a long time ago now, 10 years ago now, but my grandfather passed away on Christmas morning. So it's like one of those things where I don't know. And I think also the older I get, you realize how sometimes these things that we've taken for granted, like you don't realize how hard they can be as well, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the pandemic has really kind of recentered people's priorities in regards to like what is actually important in your life, apart from doing something that makes you happy and not stressed out about doing dumb things that don't matter.
Hmm.
Kind of like what you were saying about when you were teaching and you physically feeling sick because you weren't doing anything in music. Like I've heard so many stories about people that literally once they do something that they realize that they love, like that's it for them. Like that is where they know that they're going to go in their life and such. And it's so crazy. I've also heard stories of people that are like, I wish I could see my family. And it's like their family's around the corner kind of thing. It's like, what were you doing?
Yeah, yeah. My in-laws, my husband's from Omaha, Nebraska, and they drove here a couple months ago. And it's like, I mean, probably should be a 3-day drive, and they did it in 2 days because, it'd just been so long and they didn't want to risk flying and all that. But like, yeah, I feel like people are doing crazy things because it's a really long time to have to be away from your family, and it's never been an issue. I've lived away from my family most of my life. Like my dad lived in another country from me for like 10 years. So for me, that's like that part of it was normal, but I was always able to, get on a plane when I needed to, when I wanted to see him and, my family. It never was an issue of it's not possible to see them. So yeah, I really hope that this can help some people because I think this is going to be an especially challenging holiday season.
Yes. And which song would you say was your favorite to write and record off of the EP?
I think I would say Me and You, which is it's actually a single that we're going to release before we release the rest of the EP. And I think that one for me at least was the most personal. It's talking about like, this is hard, but I have you and you have me and we're going to get through this together. And so I was just really thinking about my husband when I was writing this song. Like, I'm just, of course, this whole thing tested our relationship in so many ways and made us go through so many twists and turns. But I'm grateful that I have had him to lean on, and he's also had me to lean on, and we've had each other to kind of days where I'm like, I can't, I just can't today. I can't adult. I can't function. He's taken the load, and on days where it's been especially hard for him, I've taken the load. And so I'm grateful that we've had each other to lean on throughout all of this.
Yes, it's always important to have some kind of support system, even if they're not physically in the same house. Like my group of friends, we've been doing like weekly game nights, sometimes movie nights since the second time that we extended the quarantine because
Yeah.
we were going crazy and we missed each other. So we're like, well, let's just do some game nights until we could get back to normal and see each other. And, it's been how many months now that hasn't happened. So we're just like just continuing that. And so many people are going through so many different things. Like there's people breaking up and divorcing, and also people are having to deal with death, whether it's related to COVID or not.
Yeah.
And, having a support system is extremely important now. And kind of like what I was saying about just like reevaluating what you need in your life, like people are realizing who they want to surround themselves with as
hmm
well.
Yeah, it's so interesting. So like a month into quarantine, so my like best friends from college live in all different countries. So there's everybody spread out across the world. And so we have a group WhatsApp, and like a month into quarantine, we're like, I can't have it. We need to do like FaceTime, like a Zoom or something like where we can actually talk. And like we've never done that in the 15 years that, however long we've had this group chat, like we always just do the text thing. And so we were Zooming and we're like, why haven't we done this? Like, why did it take a pandemic for us to get on a call and to make time to have this FaceTime with each other? And like you said, it's like it makes you realize or reevaluate what's important to me. And in those challenging times where like I need more than just a text message, like I need to see your face, I need to hear your voice, I need to, have that connection. But we're like, why did we wait for a pandemic to do this? We need to do this more often.
Right? We would be lost if there was no such thing as video chat. I think all of us would have gone a lot more crazy, and there might have been some murders also happening.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, people are going crazy now. I legitimately am afraid to go into stores because you see crazy things. Like there was like a woman who peed on the floor because she didn't want to wear her mask or something. Like people are going insane. So yeah, I can't even imagine what would happen if we didn't have modern technology and the ability to connect this way.
Yeah, I only go to the store once a week. I live with my partner and also another roommate here, so there's three of us. And we've been really good about planning out our dinners, so when we go to the store, we don't have to spend an hour there.
Yeah.
And we could just go once a week. And, as much as sometimes the amount on the cash register scares me, I have to keep reminding myself this is for like 5 or 7 days worth of food. It's not that bad.
Yeah. And like I'm not eating out and that helps too.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Like we were trying to do like one takeout day
mhm.
a week just to support local businesses because
Mhm.
they're struggling as well. So many people are struggling.
Yeah. Yeah, Friday nights are usually our takeout night. I'm like, I'm tired. I'm tired from the week. And yeah, like you said, you could it's awesome. You like can feel good about it because you're helping and you're supporting local business. So it's a win-win.
Yes, support local businesses, everyone. It's so important.
Yes.
So, kind of going back to the EP, how would you say that the songwriting and recording process has been similar or different than that of your past work that you've released?
This has been completely different, which is really awesome and it's been a lot of fun. And so this EP is written virtually, was all collaborative. And, all of my previous releases have been just me. Well, that's not true. I have had other co writers, but this is the only one that's completely collaborative. And then we have 4 songs, and we each took 2 songs to like sing the lead vocals on. And then Ramita is the one who produced it, and I gave input, but she's the producer. So and it's all upbeat and positive, which is totally not what I normally write. Normally, I write really depressing stuff. And yeah, so it's just been a really fun project, and I've been really enjoying just the process of it. And I think we're hoping to be able to do more like this in the future.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you almost in a way found the light in the darkness.
Yeah, trying.
We're all doing the best that we can right now. Absolutely. You've actually been doing a pretty good job with keeping your fans up to date with, virtual performances, and also like letting them know of your upcoming releases and just things that are happening in your life. And social media can kind of be like a double-edged sword at times.
Hmm.
Do you feel that sometimes social media kind of adds on pressures to put out there on like what's going on in your life than what you would normally do to like say us sitting at a coffee shop kind of thing?
Yeah, for me personally, I've always felt that pressure because what's the word I'm looking for? I just tend to not share it, I guess, as much about my personal life. And recently, I've just really had to make the conscious effort to, like, okay, document when I'm doing this thing. I need to document it in picture and make sure that I'm posting it. And like all the blogs and the things that I read, it's like your fans want to know who you are. Who are you outside of music? And what are you doing? And so I definitely found that to be challenging just because it doesn't come as naturally to me. But I feel like I've gotten a little better at it. But then I know like COVID happened, and then people were like struggling, like, well, what do I post now? Like, I'm sitting home in my pajamas. Like there isn't really much to post. And then everybody was going live. And I was like, okay, well, is that what I need to do in order to like stay relevant and keep up with what's going on? So then I started doing weekly Instagram lives, not realizing that we were going to be quarantined for as long as we have been. And so I did it for 3 months straight. I was doing weekly lives, and I had a lot of fun with it. I was like, I made a theme for every week and like made my set list based around that, and had people like send me their cover song requests. And, I really enjoyed those and like connecting with people. It got to be a lot. It was exhausting, especially it's like, still trying to work, on music, still trying to, drink water, not die of an airborne pandemic, all the things, take care of a toddler, and also plan. And like I spent a lot of time planning for it, and it just wasn't sustainable. So it was like one of those moments where it's like, okay, this isn't serving me right now. Like right now, I need to focus on other things because I'm getting burnt out, and I'm not going to be able to do anything if I continue to do this. So I've been trying to still find ways to connect with people and be present on social media. And then I had a couple of releases that came out. And so I was able to focus more on those and promoting those. And then I went from my weekly Instagram lives to now once a month, which has been a lot more sustainable. So yeah, it's been hard, but I'm still trying to like find my rhythm and find that sweet spot between sharing so that people get to know me a little bit better, but doing it in a way that feels authentic to me and doesn't feel like I'm saying things just to say them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like there's so much going on. And I actually like that you kind of brought up the time management aspect, because even for people that are like super A type like me, I still had problems with balancing like working at home kind of thing, because it's like there's so many distractions, at least for me. Like we have 3 animals here and there's 3 people living in here, and it's like there's a TV right there. I could just watch TV all day or like listen to music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So much stuff. So also I commend you on making sure to drink water.
Well, try. The keyword is try. Like,
Trying is better than doing nothing about it.
Oh, it's one of those things like, oh yeah, did I drink water today? I'm not sure. I'm gonna like guzzle 2 pints before bed.
And kind of going into you as a female artist, do you feel that sometimes women in the music industry have to portray themselves in certain ways in order to find success in their careers?
Absolutely. I mean, I think there are definitely female artists out there who are defying the odds and really standing their ground, and I admire them for that. But I do think that it's harder for women. I remember when I was first starting out. So I'm from New York. I went to a performing arts high school, and through somebody there, I got connected with this. I think it was like an independent label with their own producers and stuff. I didn't sign anything with them, but we were going to the studio on weekends and working on stuff. And I remember we went to do a photo shoot. And they didn't ask me my input or anything like that. It was, and I get there and they wanted me to wear this. Mind you, I'm in high school, which I guess you look at high schoolers now and maybe this makes sense. But for me, it felt very uncomfortable. They had me wear this like a men's button down shirt, but like only one button. I don't even remember if I was wearing anything on the bottom. It was just very like scandalous. And for some women, that might be empowering to them. That they might love that. Like, yeah, this is what I want to do. But for me, it was so uncomfortable. Like, put me in sweats. That that I can. I got this whole photo shoot down. I like a comfortable pair of jeans and a t-shirt and just whatever. But I was so uncomfortable. Nobody cared that I didn't feel comfortable doing this, that this wasn't the image that I wanted. And I remember looking at the photos afterwards after they came back and they were like, I was awkward in all of them because it just wasn't who I was. And I didn't have strong enough voice to stand up for myself and to say like, no, this isn't me. And then they ended up like dropping me after that. Like, I think they realized like, okay, she's not going to go with this image that we want for her, and that was that, which is good that it ended because obviously that wasn't going to be a working relationship. But that was from early on. I think that still stays with me to this day of like, is that what every woman has to look like and be portrayed as sexy and whatever? Like, that's just not me. And again, there's some women that's how they feel empowered, and that's awesome. But we come in all different shapes and sizes, and it's not one size fits all. And so I think it's hard. I think women especially need to have a strong voice and need to be able to stand their ground and be okay with being called bossy or whatever other negative names or connotations they want to call strong women who don't back down on their beliefs. So I think that's especially important. I think in all industries, but especially in the music industry when you're portraying this image.
Yes. And I really have noticed that there's been a huge change with women in entertainment in general. Even kind of what I've been seeing with like influencers, beauty influencers in particular on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff, like they've been a lot more open as to like, this is the real me. I have cellulite. I have my bad days where I'm depressed and don't want to do anything. These are my favorite pair of pajamas kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's really showing that not everything has to be glam as much as, we wish that we had stylists like taking care of that for us because life would be so much easier if people just dressed us and
Oh my
styled our
God.
hair and did our makeup all the time.
Yes.
But yeah, like you said, it's not a one size fit all situation, and there's so many amazing different types of women out there in the world that are doing awesome things and using their voice and being unapologetically themselves, and it's definitely something to commend. And hopefully it continues in the future because we need that.
Yes, yeah. I follow country artist Cam, who actually I co-wrote with before she had went on and got her record deals and all that awesome stuff. But she ended up leaving her first label, and I remember like she was sharing in her stories like these horror stories of how like some executive from her label sent her this book for Christmas about like how to lose weight or something like that. like really shady stuff. And so,
That's
she and
extremely inappropriate.
yes. And who I'm like, wow, this is somebody who's like a Grammy nominated artist, and they're still like giving her a hard time to fit this image that they wanted her to fit in country music. And she stood her ground. She's like, no, that's not me. These are not my values. Like, we don't agree on these things. So, yeah, I think we definitely need more females like that who are able to stand their ground and say this isn't acceptable. I grew up having a really hard time being able to, even now, I think I would have a hard time saying that's not acceptable. I'm not going to accept that. Like, I might say it in my own way, but I still find it hard sometimes to stand up for myself and like being treated the way that I know I should be treated in those kinds of situations. So, yes, more strong female leaders.
Yes, more badass ladies.
Yes.
We're out here. All of us are out here. If you could give your younger self any advice in regards to what you've experienced within music or within life in general, what advice would you give her?
So many things. So much advice. I would have a laundry list of things. But I think
We await the novel.
yes. 2021 that'll come out. I think though the biggest thing and that a lot of other things stem from is stop comparing. The comparison game is really hard, and we all have our strengths. We all have our gifts that we want to share with the world. And especially now when you're like, again, with social media, and you're seeing everybody's best day. You're seeing, like you're seeing the best of everyone. You're not seeing what's happening behind the scenes. So just stop comparing yourself, because we all have our own journey and you're on your journey, and that's all that matters. So just focus on you and not other people.
Absolutely. Self care is a thing that we all need to incorporate into our lives and remember that we are awesome. And we, like you said, everybody has their own journey. I actually had a conversation with another artist who kind of said something along the lines of, everybody deals with the same things at some point in their lives, just in different orders. And it's kind of true, and you don't realize it until you actually talk to other people and hear their stories and such.
I think you make a good point of like, once you actually talk to somebody and you hear their stories, and then you realize all of these connections, like you realize how you're connected to people when you sit down and break away all of the stuff that's on the outside, all the social media, all the Instagram. I think for sure that is like key to understanding things more. And also, I think that like, I forget what there's like a quote, and I forget what the actual quote is, what the saying is, but it essentially is that we all have gifts inside to share. And I think when you are following your true passion and you are sharing your gift, you are truly happy. And then you're not so concerned about what other people are doing, because you're doing what's making you happy. And so if you just focus on that, then it'll take away some of that negativity.
I totally agree. And like, I always say this all the time with people that I speak to, but like, there's so many stories about just people on their deathbeds literally saying what they wish that they did in their younger years. And like, no one ever talks about how much money they wish that they made. They talk about wanting to spend time with their family more, or getting to travel the world, or picking up the guitar to learn the guitar kind of thing. Life is about experiences, and we are trained to kind of go about our life as you get born, you go to school, you get a job, you get married, have kids, pay taxes, and die kind of thing. And no one ever talks about the fact that you have to have other things intertwined in order to live, a happy, fulfilling, complete life.
Mm-hmm.
We just do the bare minimum, and it's like, that doesn't really make you happy.
Well, yeah, for a long time, I was doing what I thought I was supposed to be doing. What am I supposed to be doing? What is supposed to make me happy, or what should be like, what is the right thing according to, I don't know, society? And then I realized, like, oh, I need to stop doing what I think I should be doing, and I need to be doing what I want to be doing.
The want factor. True
Yeah.
story.
Yeah. Well, some people think
That'll be
that's
the
self.
title of your book.
I love it. We're planning out the whole thing right now on this call.
We'll put you on a book tour 2021.
Love it.
Oh. And apart from the release of Letters to Loved Ones, what other big exciting things should we be expecting from you?
I have the single for that coming out on November 13th, and then the EP drops on the 27th, so right in time for Thanksgiving. And then there's songs that I've co-written with other artists. Like there's one that Kaylee and Cassie and I just wrote that might be the most fun song I've ever written, and I'm really excited. Cassie's going to release that one hopefully in the near future. And then I have other singles planned for release in 2021. So I have more songs than I'm able to like keep up with. So there's just like a queue of music to be released in the coming months.
Yeah, we definitely can't wait for sure. I know you were excited about all of the collaborative projects and like how different the CP was in terms of the actual work and elements that go along with, putting an EP out. So we're excited for all of it. And we know that you're probably going to have a lot more songs that come out of this year for sure.
Yeah, that'll be the second book. But yeah, thank you.
2022 book tour.
But thank you again for having me on. I owe you a coffee when this is all over and we can safely have coffee. I
Oh,
owe you like
yeah.
a real coffee in real life.
Absolutely, for sure. And where can everybody find you online?
I'm on all the things. So I have a website, natalieduque.com. If you go to my website, it'll link you up to all the things.
Awesome. And speaking of coffee, one day we would like to sit down together and have a coffee, but currently we are still supporting our local coffee shops here at Crooners and Coffeeshops. Tuesday, after I got my haircut, I went downstairs to Belgian Waffle House in Studio City and I got myself a matcha latte and it was delicious and exactly what I needed because I couldn't have coffee for the past couple of days. So perfect post haircut drink. So shout out to Belgian Waffle House in Studio City. Natalie, do you have any special shout outs to any shops that you live in where you are?
I'm just going to say I've been to Belgian Waffle House, and not only is their coffee amazing, but so is their food. So definitely a good
All of
place
it
to check
looked
out.
all of it looked delicious. And
Yeah.
I was like, one day when I have time to sit here and enjoy it and not fear for my life that I'm getting COVID, I will
Yes.
go there.
Coffee Commissaries also was a favorite of ours. We frequented before COVID. They have very decadent, delicious food, and of course, their coffee is delicious as well. My husband's very picky with coffee, and so he's like, their coffee is his like number one. So yeah.
They do have really good coffee and they have great food. They have good breakfast food.
Breakfast. Yeah, I should have said
Yeah.
breakfast food. It's like those deep, what is like triple fried potatoes or something? Oh my God, they're so
Yes.
good. Yeah.
Last time I went there, I had like, I want to say it was like breakfast poutine and it was so good. And now I want it again. So,
I know. Like now we're talking about it. I'm like,
yeah.
maybe we'll go this weekend. Pick some up.
Inspiration. Support local businesses, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you again, Natalie, for joining us today. And we hope that you're staying safe. And we can't wait for the release of all of your new music that you have planned and, those future books that we'll be doing book tours for.
Yeah, so we'll talk.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely. Stay,
yeah, no, thank you again.
yeah, absolutely. And stay safe out there, everyone, and stay caffeinated.